The path of the righteous man and defender is beset on all sides by the inequity of selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the father of lost children. And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious anger who poison and destroy my brothers. And they shall know that I am Chiba, the bodyguard, when I shall lay my vengeance upon them.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. One of my favorite actors, Shinichi Chiba, Sonny Chiba, died a few days ago, 82 years old, 19th of August. And yes, he was one of my favorite actors. So I showed you a clip, the opening quote of a movie he did in 1973, Bodyguard Kiba, this one. And the clip is from a version that was released in the US 3 years later in 1976, supervised by Simon Nuchtern, US dubbed version, and he added this quote and a short scene in an American dojo where two people are conversing about who is better, Bruce Lee or Sonny Chiba. A sort of Chiba promotion. I was a big fan of Pulp Fiction. I've always been a big fan of Pulp Fiction and Tarantino in those days. He made a big impact on me, this movie, and all his movies, all the first 3-4 movies made a big impact on me. But when I saw The Bodyguard, I think it was in 2008, I was really crushed that Tarantino stole this entire speech for the Jules Winfield character. I thought he created that speech. He never created that. But I just wanted to show you what an impact Chiba had on the action movie industry. A great martial artist and a pretty good actor. Yeah, he left us with a lot of great karate movies and a lot of great shambara. Yeah. So Sonny Chiba, a martial artist and actor, he started his own action team in 1970, JAC, Japan Action Club, and this was a collective of martial artists and actors who were doing a lot of action scenes for television and movies. And in the period from 1973 till 1977 there was a big karate movie boom in Japan. Sonny Chiba was the leading figure in that. And after that, I think from 1978 on, he did a lot of shambara and ninja and fantasy movies, especially with Fukasaku, Kinji Fukasaku, the great director. In this action club, he had two proteges. One was an actress, Atsuko Shihomi. She was 17 years old in 1972 when she joined the Japan Action Club, and she starred in a lot of movies, and she co-starred in a lot of movies where Chiba was in. Sister Street Fighter is one of those movies, of course. And he had another protege, and that was Hiroyuki Sanada, a great martial arts actor. Also did a lot of movies. Also co-starred with Sonny Chiba in a lot of television work and a lot of other movies. And I think he really got his breakthrough in 2002 when he starred in the first of a samurai trilogy directed by Yoji Yamada, The Twilight Samurai, which is an incredible movie. And later on he would do some work in Hollywood. He was in the Danny Boyle movie Sunshine, if I remember correctly. But Sonny Chiba, he was a great actor, great martial artist. I preferred him over Bruce Lee because he had more energy on the screen, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Raw energy that I really liked. Hissing on the screen and making these strange faces. Yeah, I think he was incredible. So I'm gonna start showing you some stuff. Where he was in the 2000s, but these were all small bit parts or cameos or small supporting roles. But I do want to show you these movies. The first one I wanted to show you is this excellent movie, Survive Style 5+. Directed by Gen Sekiguchi in 2004, stars one of the best actors of the last 2 decades from Japan, Tadanobu Asano, and Vinnie Jones. Vinnie Jones starred in a movie that Sonny Chiba did. But Sonny Chiba has little to do in this movie. He is a TV executive, no action scenes or something like that. But this is a very cool, hip, fresh movie, 2004. 4 silly stories that have nothing to do with each other. Very cool, with a fantastic eye-popping colors, very great color scheme in this movie. Very stylistic, style over substance, this movie, but very enjoyable, very feel good, and it's really worth checking out this movie, Survive Style 5+. I'm sorry. Then, of course, the Hattori Hanzo in Kill Bill. The left one is the Japanese DVD that is uncut, more gory violence, and the House of Blue Leaves fight is totally intact and in color, no switching to black and white. I think Kill Bill, in Kill Bill, Tarantino underused Sonny Chiba. He plays the one of the reincarnations of Hattori Hanzo, a character he played in a television series, Shadow Warriors. And it's more, I think he underused him. He should have put in a scene where Sonny Chiba could show his martial arts abilities or his sword wielding techniques. But Kill Bill, the first one, is for me personally the last really great movie that Tarantino did. But most people know him from this movie, Kill Bill. Then the sequel to Fukasaku's Battle Royale. I'm not sure if I ever saw this one. Critics say it's not a really great movie. This one, it stars Riki Takeuchi, I don't know how you pronounce it, but he was a B-movie actor, B-movie star in Japan. And there are some small parts for Sonny Chiba in this one, and I believe Takeshi Kitano also returned for this movie, or some archival footage was used, I'm not sure. But yeah, not a real Sonny Chiba movie, but he's in it. 2003, directed by Kenta and Kinji Fukasaku. Then in 2002, I think he played a small supporting role in this one, Takashi Miike's deadly outlaw Rekka, which again stars Riki Takeuchi, I don't know how you pronounce it, but this is a pretty cool movie, but again Sonny Chiba has little to do. I think he plays a gangster boss in 2 scenes, something like that, but it's a pretty cool movie, and this is an old Arrow disc. The first movie that I saw where Sonny Chiba was in, but at the time, 1992, I didn't know who Sonny Chiba was. It's the 3rd part of the Iron Eagle series, where he plays opposite Louis Gossett Jr. Still have to re-watch this one, directed by John Glenn, who did a lot of James Bond movies. Yeah, he's also in this one, Sonny Chiba. But in those days, I think I was 13 or 14 years old in those days when I first saw this one. I didn't know who Sonny Chiba was. I discovered Sonny Chiba few years before the first Kill Bill came out, and after that, of course, and I bought most of the DVDs in the period 2001 till 2008. In 2007, when the Grindhouse double feature came out from Tarantino and Rodriguez, some more companies wanted to cash in on the Grindhouse formula, and they released some other Sonny Chiba DVDs, so I bought quite a lot of them. But yeah, this is Iron Eagle Part 3. Then a X-Rental VHS tape, my least favorite movie that Sonny Chiba did, Resort to Kill. In the UK and the Netherlands it came out as Resort to Kill. I think the American title for this movie was Immortal Kombat, directed by Dan Miera in 1994, where Sonny Chiba stars, teams up with Roddy Piper. It's not a great movie, and actually the reason is Sonny Chiba, because his English isn't good and he really has to struggle with the English dialogue. It's hard to watch, but yeah, I own this one. Why not? The action is decent, of course, and Mac Foster is also in this one. Resort to Kill. Then I'll show you the first box set I own, Sonny Chiba. Probably my favorite box set, the Shogun Collection starring Sonny Chiba. Yes. Go through the movies. Now most of the movies that are in my collection, with the exception of my 5-6 favorites, I have seen only once or twice, and that was during the time I bought these movies, around 2003, 2000 till 2008, so I can't give you more information of real information about these movies, because it's a long time ago for many of these movies that I last saw the movie. But the first one I wanted to show you is a movie directed by Yasuo Furuhata in 1989. Wrong one. All look alike. It's Shogun Shadow, which is Shambara, 1989, late Shambara, starring Ken Ogata and Tetsuro Tamba. Tetsuro Tamba is famous because he was in a James Bond movie, of course. Which one was that in Japan? You Only Live Twice? I think it was that one. It's his most famous role, but he was in a lot of great Japanese movies, like Hideo Gosha's Three Outlaw Samurai and Gosha's Goyokin, great movie, a lot more. But yeah, this is the first one I wanted to show you. Then I wanted to show you this one, Shogun's Ninja, directed by Norifumi Suzuki, 1980. Suzuki, great director in my opinion. He did an Nunsploitation School of the Holy Beast, I think it was, and he did I think he did Sex and Fury, which I love, a great Japanese exploitation movie. And Shogun's Ninja is a movie where Sonny Chiba only co-stars. The hero of the movie is Hiroyuki Sanada, the protege. Again, Tetsuro Tamba is in this. But it's more of a Shambara mixed with some very cheesy ninja elements and maybe some fantasy elements. There's a strange scene in this movie where Sanada does a very strange dance routine on some very cheesy jazzy 80s music. It's fantastic. Shogun's Ninja, great movie. Then the next one I wanted to show you is Swords of Vengeance. It was directed by Kinji Fukasaku in 1978. Alternative title is Fall of Eiko Castle, and this is Fukasaku's take on the famous Loyal 47 Ronin myth story. It has a small part for Tamba again and Toshiro Mifune, and it's a great political drama, real Shambara, good movie. And in 1978 he also did this one, Shogun's Samurai, the Yagyu clan conspiracy, also was a television series. Stars Shiba again, Mifune, and Hiroyuki Sanada again. But this one is the one where Sonny Chiba plays the coolest character ever, in my opinion, with the eye patch. Always forget the name. He's a pretty famous sword fighter from Japanese history, Jubei Yagyu Mitsuyoshi. That's him. And I think on YouTube I have an avatar, and that's a picture of Sonny Chiba's face as this great warrior, Jubei Yagyu. Shogun Samurai, pretty good. Okay, so that was a box set. Then the next one I wanted to show you is this one, Fukasaku directed in 1981. Again, featuring the cool character. So I don't know if the avatar I use is from this movie or Shogun's Samurai, because Sonny Chiba as Jubei Yagyu, they look identical. I don't know which film the avatar is from, but this is a fantastic movie combining a dark fairy tale, samurai action, a little bit of horror, a little bit of fantasy. It's about this guy who is from the underworld, and he summons some old famous sword fighters from Japanese history, like Jubei, and Musashi Miyamoto is in this movie, played by Ken Ogata, and very exploitative movie. Looks beautiful, beautiful colors, beautifully shot. This one, a very good movie. Samurai Reincarnation, Makai Tensho, 1981. Then this box set, the Samurai Collection, which was pretty cool in those days. The movie movies in this collection are the following: A Legend of the Eight Samurai, pretty cool movie. Again, a mix of Shambara, swordplay, action, and some fantasy elements. It was directed by Fukasaku in 1983. Hiroyuki Sanada and Natsuko Shihomi are also in this movie, as is Sonny Chiba. Pretty cool movie again. Then Ninja Wars, again with Shihomi, Sonny Chiba. This one was directed by Kosei Sato in 1982. Sanada is in this one again, and yes, again a mix of samurai action and some fantasy elements. A typical 80s movie, in my opinion. I like the vibe of these kind of movies. And then G.I. Samurai Time Slip, another title, where a whole Japanese regiment of soldiers is transported back in time to old samurai days, and they have a big advantage. They want to rule history, and it's a pretty amazing movie, this one. Again directed by Kosei Sato in 1979, and yeah, it predates a similar Hollywood movie, this one, Final Countdown, starring Kirk Douglas and Martin Sheen, which has the same premise. This one was directed by Don Taylor in 1980. Maybe check that one out. G.I. Samurai. Yeah, cool movie again. Enjoyed it. Then the next movies I wanted to show you are these ones. After the Grindhouse flop, Tarantino and Rodriguez, DVD distributors wanted to cash in, so they produced some very neat DVDs. Great anamorphic widescreen prints, English dubbed. There's an option to play this film or this film, but you can always can also go for an option where you go for the Grindhouse experience, including trailers and commercials. It's pretty cool. This one is a movie that Atsuko Shihomi did. Sonny Chiba plays her mentor in the first 20 minutes. One of the actors in this movie is a guy I like, Yasuaki Kurata, I think his name is, a great Japanese actor who was also in a lot of Hong Kong movies. Fist of Legend with Jet Li, I recently saw again. Pretty cool movie, Dragon Princess. And this one is one of my favorites, Karate Warriors, directed by Kazuhiko Yamaguchi in 1976. He did a lot of movies with Sonny Chiba. I really like that director. And Karate Warriors is, in my view, one of the better Sonny Chiba movies, because it has a good storyline. This one was based on Jojimbo, or the Red Harvest novel, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Two gangs, and Sonny Chiba is in between. Something to do with drugs, and he befriends a little boy. Some great martial arts scenes in this one, and yeah, it's a great movie, Karate Warriors. Then the next one is the movie I told you about, The Bodyguard, 1973, and the US version in 1976. Ryuichi Takamori directed The Bodyguard. It isn't my favorite one, but it's an influential one. And on the right we have Sister Street Fighter, Kazuhiko Yamaguchi, 1974. Toei wanted to cast Angela Mao for this movie, but she didn't have time. Angela Mao played the little sister of Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon, and she did a lot of great movies, like I think she was in Hapkido and When Taekwondo Strikes, but she didn't have time. And then Sonny Chiba recommended his own protege, Atsuko Shiomi, and then Sister Street Fighter was born. I think she was 18 at the time. Pretty cool. And I own the US DVD box set. Was a pretty cool box set in those days. Still like it. And uncut, of course. I love the original poster artwork. Sister Street Fighter, Hanging by a Thread. Sister Street Fighter, 5th Level Fist. And Sister Street Fighter, and the first one features Sonny Chiba as a mentor again, I believe. And then there was Return of the Sister Street Fighter. Yeah, cool box. Kurata again. Yeah, I like this box set. Not gonna upgrade to Blu-ray. Fine with this. Great set those days. Then the next one is a Blu-ray that Arrow did a few years back, Wolf Guy, which was a pretty cool actioner with some horror and fantasy elements. Directed again by Kazuhiko Yamaguchi in 1975. Decent movie. And Arrow also released Doberman Cop. Fukasaku directed this one in 1977. Based on a popular manga. Also a good movie. But I already watched this one when this came out, because I owned a very cheap collection, 4 film sets, Sonny Chiba, which is the worst one in my collection. All the movies are in widescreen, but not in anamorphic widescreen. No restoration, no digital masters or something like that. It's only watchable. So Doberman Cop was in this one. Machine Gun Dragon. It's a movie that really is a Bunta Sugawara movie. You know, the guy who featured in the Fukasaku, the famous Fukasaku movie franchise or series of movies. And he only has a cameo in this one, I think, Shiba. So this is one I haven't watched yet. Fighting Fist I haven't watched yet. It was a movie Chiba did. I think he even directed it in 1992. Haven't seen it yet. Soul of Shiba I have seen, but it's not a very good movie, because I think Shiba shot 1/3 of the footage. Then there was a clash with Toei and he left the movie. And then they did a spy story with another Thai actor. The other 2/3 of the movie. It's a pretty big mess. But yeah, Soul of Shiba is dubbed in English, and these 3 movies have forced English subtitles. It's okay for the collection. I'm not gonna get rid of it, but it's not a great set, of course. Then this movie, a bootleg. Yeah, like I said before, in that period of time, 2001 through 2008, I believe, I watched a lot of, I explored a lot of these exploitation-like movies from Japan, Meiko Kaji and Sonny Chiba. Explored both of their the work of both actors in those days, and I had to rely on a bootleg for Wandering Ginza Butterfly Part 1 and this one Part 2. And in this one Sonny Chiba also stars. Wandering Ginza Butterfly, the She-Cat Gambler or the Wild Cat Gambler, again a movie by Kazuhiko Yamaguchi, 1972, where Meiko Kaji plays a vengeful female gang leader, and Sonny Chiba is her loyal friend, and they have a big fight with an entire Yakuza clan, of course, with a 10-minute payoff where the two of them slay the entire clan, of course. Cool, glad I own it. Also own the first one, but that one doesn't feature Sonny Chiba. And of course I bought these ones, and then 1 year later an official US release was there. I never bothered to pick those up. Wandering Ginza Butterfly. Then the Battles Without Honor and Humanity, the Yakuza Papers. I think I still have to watch the 5th in the series, final episode, but these are classic Yakuza movies. Inspired Friedkin for French Connection, of course. And in the second movie, Deadly Fight in Hiroshima, Sonny Chiba and Meiko Kaji would feature. It's a good movie, good entry. Not my favorite of the bunch, but this was a cool set in those days. So I'm not gonna upgrade to Blu-ray. I'm fine with this one. Still have to watch a movie even. But yeah, pretty cool box set. Then another box set. Little Chiba 3 movie set. First movie is a movie directed by Norifumi Suzuki in 1976, The Killing Machine, where Sonny Chiba, I think he protects a prostitute in this one. Then he did this movie, The Executioner. This one was directed by Teru Ishii, the really crazy director. He did Buhachi, Bushido, Code of the Forgotten 8, A Blind Woman's Curse with Meiko Kaji, and some really strange movies, but he toned down for this one. This is a pretty straight actioner with a little humor in it. And this one stars Yasuki Kurata again. Good actor. A lot of fun, these ones. And he did the same year, Teru Ishii did a sequel, Karate Inferno, The Executioner Part 2, which is goofier in tone. A lot of laughs in this one. Certainly worth a watch. Yes. Still some movies to go. Where am I? Yes. One of the better box sets. Sonny Chiba, the Matsutatsu Oyama trilogy, where Chiba plays the mentor, his mentor, Matsutatsu Oyama, the founder of Kyokushin Karate, and yeah, he made these movies, and they're not very historical accurate. These are real kicksploitation movies, and I really love them. The first one I love the most, Karate Bullfighter, where Sonny Chiba in one scene, gruesome scene, kills a bull with his bare hands. Love that scene. Not for the faint of heart, of course. All three movies were directed again by Kazuhiko Yamaguchi. The first two movies were directed in '75, Karate Bullfighter, and I wanted to show you the artwork, because the original poster artwork is pretty cool. And this one was also released in America under a different title, Champion of Death. Yeah, cool. Then the second one he did in '75 was Karate Bear Fighter. Great artwork again. But this movie is enjoyable, but cheesier, because he has to fight a bear, which is evidently a man in a bear suit. Doesn't work quite as well as the bull scene in the first one. But yeah, enjoyable movie. And the third one is this one he did in 1977, Karate for Life. The opening tune of the three movies was used by Tarantino in the House of Blue Leaves fight scene. Recently rewatched the opening of this movie. It's an incredible fight. He takes on a complete dojo, 100 adversaries. There's also a little problem I have with all these Japanese action movies, is that many of the directors were convinced they had to show these movies, use the same camera work as Fukasaku did in Battles Without Honor and Humanity, that shaky cam. Yeah, and then some of the action is off screen. I don't like that. It's a pretty raw and incredible fight, but it could have been, the cinematography could have been better in those scenes, I believe. But yeah, it's a cool trilogy, really worth checking out. Karate for Life. The Matsutatsu Oyama trilogy. Then the movies that started it all. The Street Fighter movies, 1974, the first one. This is a Dutch box set, by the way, the only Dutch box set in my collection. These movies, all three movies, were done in 1974. Directed by Shigehiro Ozawa. Street Fighter, famous movie, where he plays Terry Tsurugi, the anti-hero, with the famous X-ray punch. This one for maximum effect. And he did Return of the Street Fighter and Street Fighter's Last Revenge. I think this was the first movie that first Chiba movie that was released in the US. That's why it's so famous. It's one of the better ones, of course. Then, whoa, there are some more. The UK, Optimum Asia, did a few of these box sets. This was one of them, Sonny Chiba Collection Volume 1, which were pretty cool box sets. Again in the original language, anamorphic widescreen. Yeah, first movie in the set, Yakuza Deka Gangster Cop, Yukio Noda directed in 1970. This is an enjoyable action flick. Then the sequel, Yakuza Deka The Assassin. I think it was released the same year, but directed by Ryuichi Takamori. Also quite cool. And here is another version of The Killing Machine. Was always a problem in those days. Maybe it still is. Those DVD sets were overlapping each other. Big problem when I was collecting the work of Yasuhiro Ozu. All these box sets from the UK, from Japan, from US were overlapping. Sometimes you bought a box set for 2 movies, which sucked incredibly. Cost me a lot of money in those days. And this was another UK set, the Sonny Chiba Collection Volume 2. Another winner, in my opinion. So, Golgo 13, which was a movie directed by Yukio Noda in 1977. The full title is Golgo 13 Kowloon Assignment Kowloon, whereas Sonny Chiba plays a ruthless assassin. It was a sequel to a movie where Ken Takakura starred in. I never saw that one, and it was based on a manga. I do own on tape a great animated version of film version of the manga, Golgo 13 Professional, in the early 80s, which was pretty cool. Golgo 13 is an enjoyable movie, by the way. And then there is, of course, The Bullet Train, Junja Sato, 1975, also starring Takashi Shimura, Seven Samurai, of course, and Ken Takakura as a mad bomber who wants to blow up a train. If the train goes under 80 kilometers per hour, then the train will explode. First part of the movie on the train is the coolest part, and then there's a hunt by the police for the terrorist in the second part. That one that piece I enjoyed a little bit less, and of course it was the premise for this 1994 movie, Speed. Same premise, then with a bus. Jan de Bond directed this one, and Dennis Hopper was the mad bomber. The Bullet Train. And here is another version of GI Samurai Time Slip. Wanted to show you the original poster. The artwork is pretty cool in this one, in these box sets. And then, last but not least, this box set. I think you have to pay a lot of money for it nowadays, if only people in those days, more people would have bought it than the rest of the seasons probably would have been released. Now I only have this one to enjoy, Shadow Warriors, Kage no Gundan, the first season. There were 4 seasons, 1980 to 1985. I only saw this one, where Sonny Chiba plays Hattori Hanzo. Each season he played another reincarnation of the character in different times. I think he played Hattori Hanzo the third in this one. Incredibly cool ninja series of combining action, sometimes some gore in it, some nudity in it, great stories, some comedy, some mystery. Pretty cool box set, this one. Yeah, great stuff. Yes guys, that was the last item I had to show you. Now maybe I can do a top 10 now. I'll show you a top 10. So I will end this video with showing you my top 10 favorite Chiba movies. Some he stars, some he only has a supporting role. But I think it's the top 10 is a good overview. The variety of roles Sonny Chiba played in his career. Maybe a good starting point for Sonny Chiba virgins, I don't know. First, one honorable mention for me is a movie that I don't own yet. I think I saw 40 plus movies that Sonny Chiba was in, but this one I still haven't found. It's a movie that Fukasaku did in 1978. It's a blatant Star Wars ripoff from 1978, Message from Space, a space opera which is so cheesy. I can't recommend it enough. It's such a cheesy movie. It also stars Vic Morrow, Tetsuro Tamba, Atsuko Shihomi and Hiroyuki Sanada. It's in the same vein of as this Italian rip-off of Star Wars from the same year, directed by Luigi Cozzi, who also did the Hercules movies, ridiculous movies with Ferringo. This one is Star Crash. But Message from Space, Fukasaku 1978, is the honorable mention. Sonny Chiba, top 10. At number 10, it's a television series, that's why I put it on the number 10 spot, is Shadow Warriors. She's excellent. I was hoping that more Japanese television series would become available to us, like Satoichi, like Lone Wolf and Cub, but I cherish this only season that ever was released over here in the West, Shadow Warriors. Then Norifumi Suzuki's Shogun's Ninja from 1980, which Shiba only co-stars. Hiroyuki Sanada is the hero in this movie. Fantastic, cheesy 80s swordplay fantasy fest. I really like. Number 9. Number 8, the time-traveling movie G.I. Samurai, directed by Kosei Sato, 1979. Fantastic movie, and Sonny Chiba in a very different role. Then The Wandering Ginza Butterfly Part 2, directed by Kazuhiko Yamaguchi. where he teams up with Meiko Kaji, a fantastic movie in my opinion. Number 6, The Street Fighter, the famous movie by Sonny Chiba, the first famous movie, the most famous movie of his career, I think. Number 5, Swords of Vengeance, the 47 Loyal Ronin retelling by Fukasaku, 1978. Also Toshiro Mifune is in this, my favorite actor of all time. Then Shogun's Samurai, again a great movie by Fukasaku, where Sonny Chiba plays the coolest character he ever played, Jubei Yagyu, the famous sword fighter. Is number 4. Number 3, again Jubei Yagyu. I think you pronounce it like, I don't even know if that's the way to pronounce it, but look at him, what a badass. Fantastic movie, probably my favorite Fukasaku movie ever. Now maybe Cops versus Thugs. Yeah, I like a few of Fukasaku. I think I own a lot of Fukasakus. Maybe show you these ones in a future video. Number 2, Kazuhiko Yamaguchi in this incredible exploitative movie, Karate Bullfighter. Fantastic movie, 1975. But my favorite one, still needs a good release, is Yamaguchi's Karate Warriors, inspired by Yojimbo, with great badass fight scenes. Sonny Chiba, rest in peace. This was my collection vid, the only movies I own from Sonny Chiba. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Goodbye.